Welcome all. I'm Matt Farris, the ministerial intern here at UU Asheville. And as always, we have a great group of folks contributing to our service today. Susan is assisting me as worship associate. Simon is running tech, and Dr. Les will be providing our music. Thanks to the ushers, the folks who provide drinks and treats, the folks who set up for and clean up after coffee hour, our faith formation gurus, and everyone else in this beloved community who's contributing to our flourishing this morning. It's my genuine pleasure and honor to serve you today. This is the space. This is the place of beloved community. For those of you online, we are with you and you are with us. We are in beloved community with you. Our shared UU values remind us that love is at the center of our lives. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter how you identify, no matter whom you love, you are truly welcome in this place. Let us all open our hearts to the spirits of love, the whole, and the divine as we practice beloved community today. Just a quick personal note here. This is my penultimate service that I'll be offering as your ministerial intern. My farewell service will be August 31st. I chose the theme of today's service, the Trickster, because this wily, wise figure has been so present in my life as your intern, but also throughout my life. I suspect that you know the Trickster too. It comes in many strange, funny, irritating, enlightening guises. I'm praying that the sacred Trickster will be with us today, but maybe not too much. A little bit of Trickster goes a long way, so that's all we're asking for is a little bit. And now, without further ado, let us receive the gift of our opening music from Dr. Les.
Well, good morning. Our chalice lighting this morning is written by Matt. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism, with a Promethean flame, stolen from the gods, an act of trickery. Divine compassion in service to mortal thriving. The light of wisdom, the power of technology, the spark of community and culture, science. We light this chalice, symbol of love at the center, the vitality of our beloved community. So rise now, please, in body or spirit, as we sing hymn number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life.
Good morning. We have for you a couple of special wisdom stories for our Trickster Day here. And these are Native American coyote stories. And this first one is called Coyote in Washichu. So coyote is our kind of standard trickster figure. And Washichu in Lakota means takes the fat. And typically Washichu means greedy. It can also mean spirit. So Washichu Mani, the water spirit. So we're not sure about where this word comes from, but the way it's used here, we're talking about a greedy person. Coyote in Washichu, and this story comes from the Brule Sioux, and they're in central South Dakota, and they're a Lakota tribe. There was a white man who was such a sharp trader that nobody ever got the better of him. Or so people said, until one day a man told this Washichu, "There's somebody who can out-cheat you anywhere, anytime." "Well, that's not possible," said the Washichu. I've had a trading post for many years, and I've cheated all the Indians around here. Well, even so, Coyote can beat you in any deal. Well, let's see whether he can. Where is Coyote? Over there, said the tricky-looking guy. Okay, all right, I'll try him. The Washichu trader went over to Coyote. Hey, let's see you outsmart me. Well, I'm sorry, said Coyote. I'd like to help you out, but I can't do it without my cheating medicine. Cheating medicine, ha! Go get it. Well, I live miles from here and I'm on foot, but if you'd lend me your fast horse, well, all right, you can borrow it. Go on home and get your cheating medicine. Well, friend, I am a poor rider. Your horse is afraid of me, and I'm afraid of him. Lend me your clothes, then your horse will think I'm you. Well, all right, here are my clothes. Now you can ride him. Go get that medicine. I'm sure I can beat it. So, Coyote rode off with the Washichu's fast horse and his fine clothes, while the Washichu stood there with a bare butt. So that is a way that Coyote makes things right. And here's a different kind of Coyote story making things right. This is from the Kalapuya people, and they're in Oregon, near the Willamette and Umpqua valleys. And this is called Coyote Takes Water from the Frog People. Coyote was out hunting and he found a dead deer. One of the deer's rib bones looked just like a big shell, and Coyote picked it up and took it with him. He went up to see the frog people. The frog people had all the water. When anyone wanted any water to drink or cook with or to wash, they had to go and get it from the frog people. Coyote came up. Hey, frog people, I have a big shell. I want a big drink of water. I want to drink for a long time. Give us that shell, said the frog people, and you can drink all the water you want. Coyote gave them the shell and began drinking. The water was behind a large dam, like a beaver dam, where Coyote drank. I'm going to keep my head down for a long time, said Coyote, because I'm really thirsty. Don't worry about me. Okay, we won't worry, said the frog people. Coyote began drinking. He drank for a long time. Finally, one of the frog people said, Hey, Coyote, you sure are drinking a lot of water there. What are you doing that for? Well, Coyote brought his head up out of the water. I'm thirsty. Oh, okay. After a while, one of the frog people said, Coyote, you sure are drinking a lot. Maybe you should give us another shell. Well, just let me finish this drink, said Coyote, putting his head back underwater. The frog people wondered how a person could drink so much water. They didn't like this. They thought Coyote might be doing something. Coyote was digging under the dam all the time his head was underwater. When he finished, he stood up and said, That was a good drink. That was just what I needed. Then the dam collapsed, and the water went out into the valley and made the creeks and rivers and waterfalls. The frog people were very angry. You have taken all the water, Coyote. Well, it's not right that one people have all the water. Now it is where everyone can have it. Coyote did that. Now anyone can go down to the river and get a drink of water, or some water to cook with, or to just swim around. Now, let's sing our children and youth their faith formation adventures. And we want to invite any parents, especially if you're new, to go with your children and see where you can drop them off and pick them up. And we will sing as the children go out, as you go. Okay, so now is normally the time when we have reflection and prayer. And I thought, the thing that comes next is joys and sorrows. And, well, how about if we do joys and sorrows in a reflective and prayerful way? So we're going to do them together. So now is the time to acknowledge our joys and sorrows with a ritual of water and rocks. For all that grieves our hearts, we add salt to brine the water in these vessels. Let's add salt. For all that brings our hearts joy or celebration, we scatter flower petals to symbolize our joys and sense of gratitude. Now, typically, we don't do this, but since we're kind of hanging out with Coyote and Trickster, we like to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and reveal a little bit of the technology of our ritual. We use brined water. Why do we do that? Well, we brine the water to make it just a little bit salty because our sorrows are real. But it struck me, that this brined water is also like the ocean. And we should be treating our vessels here like ocean water. The ocean is in that bowl, and it is vast, and it is ordered, and it is chaotic, just like our joys and sorrows. And so when we take a rock and we put our rock, our joy, or our sorrow, or our joys and sorrows into that water, we're saying, my joys and my sorrows go into this ordered disorder, this vastness, and it is a sacred place for those joys and concerns. We use rocks. Well, among the Maori in New Zealand, they have a precious stone called punamu. It's jade. And jade is a sacred stone for the Maori. And the reason why jade is so sacred is that it's a particular kind of rock that remembers all the way back to creation. Our rocks remember all the way back to creation. Think about how long they've been around and how many times we've used them for various rituals. When you come up and you select a rock, you can almost be sure that rock that you've chosen has been remembering someone else's joy and someone else's sorrow, because that's our community. We share them with one another over and over and over again. So when you choose that rock, choose it carefully and know that this rock will remember forever your joy and your sorrow, and it will go into the vastness where it is taken into this big thing that can hold and witness all of your joys and sorrows. So let us proceed. We have two different bowls here, so we'll, as usual, we'll kind of go out, line up along the edges, and we'll have you return to your seats through the middle. Let's begin our ritual of water and rocks. Joy, know that we rejoice with you. We truly do. If you've shared a sorrow, know that you are held in love and care by this community. Real love and care. We add these last rocks for all the joys and sorrows of our community, carried by those who are not present with us today. Our community is one community, gathered or apart.
Get my little step stool out there so you all can see me. So rather than reading what someone else has written about tricksters as part of the opening words and reflection, I decided to write something myself, drawing on my own experience with tricksters in my pagan practice of 30 years or so. So this piece will be an introduction to Matt's sermon. Matt asked me to introduce you to the trickster figure because he will be talking about how the trickster figure has influenced him in his life. So the trickster archetype is pervasive in pagan myths and folk tales. So what is a trickster? And what do tricksters have to teach us? Tricksters are disruptive of the status quo, challenging social norms. They thrive on chaos and utilize chaos to create change, often for the betterment of society. They are known for their cleverness and cunning, able to outsmart foes through trickery and deception. They can shapeshift, often blurring the distinction between good and evil, wisdom and foolishness. It's hard to categorize them. Sometimes they're heroes, sometimes villains. Ordinary moral categories often don't apply to them because they live in liminal spaces, often crossing boundaries to inhabit no man's land, where ordinary rules and constraints don't apply. They have a dualistic nature, sometimes creator, sometimes destroyer. They teach us to think outside the box when contemplating how to defeat an opponent or create transformational change. Tricksters are found in pagan lore of virtually every culture. Most societies have deities or shamans or rebels who practice deceit, mischief, betrayal, and trickery. There's Loki from Norse mythology, who kidnaps a goddess to give eternal life to the gods. Raven from the Pacific Northwest, who brings light to the world. Inazi, the spider from West African tales, who tries to contain wisdom in a pot but ends up breaking the pot in anger, thus releasing wisdom into the world for all. Hermes from Greek mythology, who stole cattle from his brother Apollo, but by doing so became Zeus's messenger. And Coyote from Native American lore, as we heard in the story of Coyote tricking the frog people to get water for all the people. All these figures use guile to outsmart their opponents. And despite their deviousness, or maybe because of it, they bring about needed change. Trickster figures are important because they challenge authority and established mores, promoting the disruption of systems that are stagnant or unjust. Tricksters use wit and cunning to question authority and accepted beliefs, rebelling against established rules and structures to create a model of change to which people and communities must adapt. They challenge those in power, aligning with the human struggle against social constraints. Paradoxically, they are not bound by traditional ethical norms, but they nevertheless provide moral lessons by directing us to enhance the good in society, sometimes through unexpected means. And lastly, they often become conduits to the dimension of the sacred, especially as shamans, opening up possibilities to align not just with human endeavor, but with the overarching will of the gods. They exist in the liminal space between the sacred and the profane. And again, paradoxically, the trickster takes us into the dark, most profane, shadow side of our nature, where guile and deception live, with the result that a reordering of society can occur that creates a more whole and healthy social order in tune with a higher spiritual good.
So I found it a little challenging to select music for this service, just a little bit. So what I decided is we're going to learn a song. So last week I played for the prelude my arrangement of a hymn tune called Beach Spring. It's a lovely tune, and I thought, oh, well, there are some lovely words to that, so we're going to learn the song, the first verse. And I think it's a good song for us to sing to prepare us for what we're about to hear in a few minutes. Also, I wanted to share with you that a few weeks ago, I was in Atlanta at the Association of It's Association of Unitarian Universalist Music Ministries, AUM. And we sang this song in the Sunday service. So what we're going to do is we're first going to read the words. And then now we're going to take away the words. So I'm going to play the tune, and I want you to listen, and you might even close your eyes while you're listening. Just don't fall asleep. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn the tune without the words. Oh, how do we do that? Well, you can hum if you want to. When I'm working with a choir and I'm teaching them something new, I have them sing on a neutral syllable, like D-D-D. D-D-D, D-D-D-D-D-D. Or you can sing do-do-do-do. Pick your choose. And we're going to sing the tune that way. I'll give you 1, 2, and then we'll sing. Here we go. And I will sing with you, which I don't normally do. Here we go. A 1, 2. D, 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 my mic is falling down. All right, now we'll do the words, and I'll adjust the mic so it's not falling. Here we go. I will tell you that occasionally there is a syllable that has 2 notes, like center, or the word matter, and the word, you'll figure it out. We'll sing it through twice. But just know that occasionally you have to sing 2 notes to 1 syllable. Here we go. I'll give you 1, 2, and we'll be in. A 1, 2. Come and find the quiet center in the crowded life we lead. Find the room for all to enter. Find the room we are free. Through the chaos and the clutter, there are eyes that we can see. Good. Sing that again a little fuller. 1, 2. A+. Thank you.
Love it. Good morning, beloved community. Good morning here and wherever you are online. It's really a blessing to be with you. Today, with both reverence and trepidation, I'd like to further invoke the wise figure of the trickster. Susan did a really wonderful job of explaining to us who and what this fool is, this sacred transgressor of boundaries and limitations. The trickster takes many forms, each manifesting or promoting a particular kind of wisdom for a particular kind of context. This wily teacher has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. As a child, my parents regularly read me the stories of Curious George, the little monkey trickster brought to life by Margaret and Hans Augusto Rey, a Jewish couple who escaped the onslaught of Nazism in Paris in 1940. I could relate to George's curiosity, his sense of wonder about the world, and his go-for-it attitude. But I wasn't a mischievous kid, so I never wanted to be just like George. It would have been impossible for my childhood self to know that one day the Hindu monkey god Hanuman would speak to me in his temple in Taos, New Mexico. As a child, I was also quite fond of spiders. So Spider-Man was a favorite superhero, and I would spider crawl up and down our basement steps, whoosh, whoosh, web slinging. It would have been impossible for my childhood self to know that one day I would be visited by spirits from the Star Spider Nation during my Crying for a Vision for the People ceremony on an ancient lava flow outside Flagstaff, Arizona. One of my favorite stuffed animals as a child was Raccoonie, given to me by Sweetie, my grandfather's second wife, when I first met her. I would take Raccoonie to school, and he would live in the pocket of my jacket while I played on the playground in elementary school. It would have been impossible for my childhood self to know that one day the raccoon people, those little tricksters with masks, would come to me as an undergraduate during the first efforts for me of practicing journeying, a spiritual exercise that is now the foundation of my religious toolkit. As I now know, the trickster has always been a part of my life. This morning, I'm going to let you in on a little secret we trickster aficionados tend to keep to ourselves for fear of being thought of as crazy, not sufficiently grounded in reality. Here's the absurd secret of absurdity. When the trickster comes and disorders the status quo, when the sacred fool upends or dismantles our sense of what's real or true or normal, the trickster is simultaneously revealing how things could be, how things could be if we accept, promote, and reinforce that alternate reality. In an almost messianic way, the trickster comes to announce the possibility of a new reality, a wisdom unavailable in a status quo mindset. If we say, well, that's just the way things are, we are consigning ourselves to a world without curiosity, without transformation and innovation, without the impossible possibility. I love this language, the impossible possibility. I use it all the time. When the trickster arrives on the scene, we are going to feel destabilized, maybe confused, maybe irritated. That's okay. Disruption in service to the good is still disruption. Go ahead and ask the question, what the hell is going on here? I mean, what? How could this be? But realize the sacred fool is going to gift you with a doozy of an answer to your question. So when Monkey comes to town riding a horse backwards, it's not time for us to ridicule or make laws against riding backwards, but to start paying attention to what's behind us. Or maybe have some faith that our horse is taking us in the right direction. When the trickster arrives and we can't tell whether this figure is male or female, it's not time for us to ridicule or make laws against being queer, but to start realizing that gender is fluid, the biology of sex isn't actually binary, and there are myriad valid forms of sexual identity and presentation. Many forms. It's not a binary. When Coyote appears and says that a Christian, a Jew, a pagan, a Buddhist, and an atheist can venerate the good together, sing Long Time Son together in a beloved community and really mean it, maybe Coyote is onto something very special. The trickster pops us out of complacency and our sense of what's normal and illuminates a world of creative potential. Now, it's probably a good time for me to reveal in a very personal way what it can look like to confront the trickster and its horrible, wonderful wisdom. I am what people call an addict. In clinical terms, I suffer from substance use disorder. Essentially, I have an abusive relationship with alcohol. A couple decades ago, I discovered that when I drink a lot, I can slip into a different reality for a short period of time, a reality where my problems seem less present to me. I discovered that if I drink enough, I can make myself feel as if the things that trouble me go away. But the more that I tried to deny my problems by drinking them away, the more they denied me right back, and I was plagued by a Pandora's box of self-inflicted wounds. About 2 years and 9 months ago, I entered a rehab program here in Asheville and began the lifelong process of transmuting my relationship with alcohol. 2 years and 9 months. But here's where things get really interesting. I made rehab a daily spiritual exercise of making friends with the trickster. The trickster that had me convinced that alcohol could make my troubles go away. I made friends with and venerated Dionysus, a dying and rising god, a god of wine, drunkenness, madness, joy, and the real fiction of theater. Dionysus is a divine transgressor, a god of the crossroads. I had abused my relationship with Dionysus for far too long. Now it was time to embrace an impossible possibility. Pharmakon. In ancient Greek, pharmakon means both poison and remedy. I'll say that again. In ancient Greek, pharmakon means both poison and remedy. For far too long, I had been poisoning myself with Dionysus's blessing. Now it was time for me to remedy my relationship with alcohol with Dionysus's blessing. I know this all sounds absurd, but hang in there with me. Dionysus the trickster had given me a beautiful gift, alcohol, and I sacrilegiously treated it like poison. By embracing the impossible possibility of pharmakon, I transmuted that poisonous relationship into something therapeutic, curative, healthful. Now, when I meet people who feel somehow cursed, poisoned, or damaged, I can speak to the fact that the trickster might be able to help transmute that suffering into some form of remedy through some impossible possibility. You might think me mad, but when Helene came through and upended our region, what saved me was rehab, pharmakon, and the impossible possibility the trickster revealed to me. The sacred fool reminded me that while mourning what had happened, I could also celebrate the ever-present flow of abundance and grace in my life, including you all. Right then, at the beginning of my ministerial internship here at UU Asheville, something awful brought me into a beautiful relationship with you. That is the trickster. Now, since we're getting personal and I'm revealing some things about my unorthodox relationship with the sacred fool, let's talk about this damn chain that I wear. Now, really, it's a pain in my neck. It bangs on things, it hurts to sit on, it's a fashion nightmare in contexts that demand a more polished look, and it's kind of scary. It's a bunch of skulls chained and linked together. In reverence for my trickster teachers, this chain is a primary form of my spiritual practice, a tool for liberation, for freedom from chains. I practice an ancient form of spiritual exercise that the Stoics called memento mori. In Latin, memento mori means remember, you must die. Here, the trickster is in rare form. Memento mori is actually, perhaps absurdly, a way of living more fully by recognizing that death is a powerful force in our lives. Our world is constantly in a process of living, dying, transforming, and creating new life. I practice many forms of memento mori, including dying to aspects of myself that make me suffer, so that I can live into a new way of being if I accept, promote, and reinforce a healthier story. On Sundays, This thing will smack on a pew while I'm walking up for joys and sorrows. And clank, I'm reminded of the present potential for liberative mindfulness. Clank, the impossible possibility for liberation is now. Of course, as I've said, I know all too well what it's like to feel chained to my problems, both real and perceived. As it turns out, I am not chained to my problems, my perceived limitations, or the limitations that seem thrust upon me by my culture. I am not limited by my history, my self-interest, or my unwillingness to recognize that I am a sacred part of a healthy, holy, interdependent, bigger picture. This chain of skulls liberates me. It clanks, carpe diem, seize the day. Beloveds, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. In all the seriousness and suffering and strife of our lives, let's remember that the Trickster can open space for us to laugh and experience the genuine joy of absurdity. The original Adventures of Curious George by Margaret and H.A. Ray tell us that amidst all of George's mishaps, rule-breaking, and foolishness, quote, he was a good little monkey and always very curious, end quote. George is a sacred fool. He makes us laugh, and through him we learn that sometimes the things we take very, very seriously really could be otherwise, even for the better, if we allow for productive absurdity. Ask Betsy. In Curious George Goes to the Hospital, quote, Betsy was in bed looking sad, end quote. George was in a hospital bed next to Betsy and, quote, George just sat there and cried, end quote. Well, eventually, George puts on a puppet show for the kids, using all four limbs, which is what only a good little monkey could do. As the story goes, quote, the children laughed and shouted, and even Betsy, for the first time, smiled a little, end quote. Soon after, George steals a go-kart, a wheelchair, and goes careening down a ramp. Quote, George tried to stop, but it was too late. Wham! The go-kart landed in the middle of everything. Lunch carts tumbled. Spinach and scrambled eggs were all over the floor. People fell over each other, and George was thrown out of the go-kart and landed right in the mayor's arms. What a mess it was. You broke all my dishes, someone cried. He ruined the go-kart, complained another. What will the mayor think of it? Whispered someone else. And so it went. Suddenly, everyone looked up and listened. From above came happy laughter, and there stood Betsy, laughing, laughing, laughing. Then the children joined in. Then the mayor started laughing, and finally everybody just laughed and laughed. Everybody, that is, except George. Betsy came running down the ramp, threw her arms around George, and kissed him. Don't be so sad, George, she said. The whole thing was so funny. I never laughed so much in my life. I'm so glad that you were in the hospital with me, end quote. In the end, George is happy too. Sometimes, even when we have real reasons to be sad, we can invite the Trickster to give us a new perspective, make us laugh, or help us to live differently, maybe even better. Listen to the trickster and see what wisdom it has for you. May it be so. Thank you. Please rise now in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses, verses 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Thank you, Matt, so much for such deep sharing of how the Trickster has impacted your life and continues to do so. We appreciate it. So now is the time when we introduce visitors to our congregation. So I would like to invite any of you who are visiting today to stand up and say your names and where you're from. And we have some folks with microphones coming around so that you can use the mic when you talk.
Hi, my name is G.
I'm Alicia.
We're leaders from the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough, which is a few 100 miles west of here. Whatever, I don't know. I'm clearly not from America, so hi. We're visiting, we're on vacation right now. We just wanted to see what you guys were all about, what you were doing here in your congregation, see if there was anything we could learn and take back to our own congregation to adapt and improve, because our congregation is very tiny. We're about 50 members, so it's wonderful to be here in a room with such a loving, beloved community, which has grown far greater than ours.
I'm good.
Yep. Cool.
Welcome. Anyone else? That's it for today? No other visitors? Well, please take a moment to wave to Trevor. Hi, Trevor. He's our connections coordinator, and he would love to meet you after the service, especially if you have any questions. So Join us and Trevor in Sandberg Hall at the welcome table, where we have a lot of helpful information for you. Our announcements run as slides at the beginning of the service, and if you missed them, please refer to Thursday's weekly e-news, as everything is described there. And if you don't receive the e-news, email us at information@uuasheville.org and we'll get you signed up. Our community plate recipient this month is Wananoa Communities Together. Our offering this morning will be split with our partner unless you intend your gift to be applied to your pledge, in which case use the envelope in the pew in front of you. You can also donate online. And we have a special note this morning about pledge contributions. If you've set up automatic payments for your annual pledge, please remember they do not renew automatically yearly. You'll need to reset them manually. If you have any questions or need help, just call the office and we'll be happy to assist you. The work and ministries of this congregation are entirely supported by the generosity of our members and friends. We celebrate your generosity each Sunday with music and thanks. You make us possible, and we give thanks to you. So the offering will now be gratefully collected. For the gifts of your presence, time, wisdom, and resources, we are grateful. Thank you.
Now it is time for our benediction, excuse me, our good words for going forth. I really like to do the dedication of merit because it feels like we generate a lot of really good energy here. And so we send it out. And you will hear me say, and we remain in the state of presence. And then we do a great big ah. And we send off all that good energy, all that merit, all the benefits of our beloved community having been together today. And then we big clap, okay? May the benefit of this act and all acts be dedicated unto the complete liberation and the supreme enlightenment of all beings everywhere, pervading space and time. So mote it be. May the benefits of practice, ours and others, come to fruition, ultimately and immediately, and we remain in the state of presence. Love it. Thank you. Please rise now in body or spirit as we sing our UU Asheville closing song, after which you're invited to join us in Sandberg Hall for social time. Long time, son.